Thank you, sir. Enjoy your drink. My special customer, served with a special drink. One with my own secret spice. His name is Carter. Just an ordinary office worker from the building across the street, right opposite the cafe where I work part-time. I love Carter. He's also the only reason I've stuck with this boring, low-paying job for a whole year.
See you this afternoon, Ashley. Your coffee is so good, I might as well replace water with it.
I want to see him, make his coffee every day. And one day, he'll be mine. And that day is coming soon. I've been secretly adding pure caffeine powder to Carter's coffee for the past 3 months. He's so addicted to my coffee now that he comes back 3 times a day. Working at the cafe is pretty easy. During office hours, barely anyone leaves their desk for coffee. But that's only true for those who aren't addicted. Carter, on the other hand, my Carter, has been hooked on my coffee for months. I can predict the exact second he'll walk through that door. I head back behind the counter, preparing a special cup for my special customer. A black coffee, extra strong, overloaded with caffeine. And today's secret ingredient, my sweat. I believe that by passively absorbing my essence, Carter will unconsciously feel closer to me. With the perfect mix of science and mysticism, Carter will be mine soon. Today, I want Carter to receive my essence at the highest level, my menstrual blood.
Ashley, the coffee tastes a bit weird today. Kinda metallic.
Carter, you've already drunk my blood. From now on, you belong to me, okay? I love you so much, ever since the first time we met at this cafe.
You're insane! I could never love a lunatic like you.
Haha. Finally, I confessed my feelings to him. His reaction? Exactly as expected. But I'm not worried. Carter is addicted to my coffee. He'll come back soon. He has no choice. As I was cleaning up the cafe, waiting for Carter to come back, a rude customer suddenly barged in.
Who the hell is Ashley? Get out here!
I looked up, shocked to see Carter standing next to the loudmouth. But the way they stood together seemed too close.
Babe, is this the freak you were talking about?
I froze. Carter has a boyfriend? No way. Carter pressed a quick kiss on Chris's cheek, then shot me a look full of disgust.
Chris is my boyfriend. You should give up on your sick obsession.
I snapped. I screamed, slamming my fist on the table, my eyes darting around for something, anything, a weapon. My fingers wrapped around a steaming hot cup of coffee from the machine, and then I threw it straight at their faces. They betrayed me. Now they'll have to live with their scarred, ugly faces, forever marked, forever judged. The scalding coffee splashed onto that home-wrecking bastard's skin. His agonizing screams filled the cafe, sending a rush of satisfaction through me like never before.
You crazy bitch! I'll kill you!
Chris, calm down. You're burned. I need to get you to a hospital. We'll deal with her later.
Their threats snapped me back to reality. They would come for me. I had to get out. Fast. I got fired. Of course it was that bastard Carter. He must have ratted me out to the cops and my boss. If he dared to betray me, if he wouldn't let me live in peace, then I'd drag him straight to hell with me. That night, I slipped into the cafe and swapped the sugar syrup with pure caffeine. Carter was addicted. He'd be back for his fix. But this time, he'd be drinking poison. Before leaving, I hid a small camera behind the counter. I wanted to see everything. I wanted to enjoy it. The next day, I sat in front of my computer, eyes glued to the live feed from the cafe. Just as I predicted, they had hired a new barista, and Carter, still convinced this place had the best coffee, came back for his usual fix. Through the camera, I noticed he looked exhausted. Taking care of that sick boyfriend must be tough, huh?
What kind of crap is this? Did you forget the sugar? Trying to choke me or what?
Oh, Carter, that coffee was never meant to be sweet. But don't worry, it's packed with caffeine. Just drink up, and it'll ease your suffering. Haha. I zoomed in on Carter's cup, watching the barista pump syrup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bumps should be enough. Carter downed his coffee in frustration, while I silently savoured the moment. I stared at the screen, heart pounding, waiting for my masterpiece to unfold. And just as I hoped, the caffeine overdose hit. Hard. His body convulsed, foam bubbled from his mouth, like a fish gasping on dry land. I closed my laptop and took a slow sip of my Starbucks. Revenge had never tasted so sweet.
I was 180 kilograms of disappointment. At least that's how I felt every time I caught my reflection in the gym's mirror. Every step, every bead of sweat was fueled by one single thought. Rose. She was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, her laughter ringing across the gym like music. I couldn't stay in the shadows anymore. If she wanted someone strong and fit, that's what I had to become. But weeks of torture on the treadmill and weights yielded almost nothing. The scale barely moved, and Rose didn't even notice me. Meanwhile, I couldn't help but notice how some of the most sculpted guys in the gym occasionally collapsed during their workouts. They'd be taken to the locker room, pale and shaky, but always came back the next day looking stronger than ever. It made no sense. Frustrated, I finally complained to my trainer. "It's pointless," I grumbled, and decided to let everything go. "I've tried everything. I'll never look like them." He gave me a sly smile and leaned in, lowering his voice.
"You're right. Workouts alone won't cut it. But I've got something special for guys like you."
From his locker, he retrieved a small black jar read, "Fastest weight loss protein."
"This,"
he said, tapping it with his finger.
"is the shortcut, a secret formula. It's 100% safe and guarantees fast results."
I hesitated, staring at the jar. "What's in it?"
"Trust me, Bulk. You'll thank me later."
Desperation won over logic, and that night, I took my first scoop of the black protein. It tasted bitter and earthy, but I gulped it down, chasing it with water. The effects were immediate. Within days, my body began to transform. My gut shrank, my arms swelled with muscle, and my face, once round and bloated, gained sharp, chiseled features. Even my digestion improved. For the first time in my life, I felt confident. Rose even smiled at me one afternoon, and I swear my heart nearly stopped. But then, strange things began to happen. One morning, I noticed an itch in my throat, a constant tickling that wouldn't go away. My skin taut over my new muscles, sometimes felt like it was crawling, as though something moved beneath the surface. And then, there was the jar. I'd been going through it faster than I thought, and as I scooped out the last serving, something caught my eye. Inside the powder, something squirmed. My stomach turned as I fished it out. A tiny black leech, wriggling between my fingers. I dropped it, horrified, and stared at the jar in disbelief. What had I been drinking? At the hospital, the truth came out. The doctor showed me the scans of my body, his face pale. My muscles weren't muscles. They were writhing, tangled masses of leeches. These creatures had burrowed inside me, feeding on my fat and growing, giving the illusion of strength. I confronted the trainer the next day, holding the jar in trembling hands. He didn't flinch.
"Relax. They're harmless. They only feed on excess. When you're ready, there's a pill to flush them out. Isn't this what you wanted? You're strong, healthy, and Rose notices you now, doesn't she?
His words twisted in my mind. He wasn't wrong. For the first time, I had what I'd always wanted. So I ignored the itch in my throat, the occasional stinging under my skin. I kept drinking the protein and enjoying my newfound body. Until the morning I couldn't breathe. It started as a scratching feeling, but quickly turned into suffocation. My vision blurred as I gagged, clawing at my throat. Something inside was moving, writhing its way up. I stumbled into the gym, collapsing at the trainer's feet. "Help me!" I choked out, blood spilling from my mouth. He reacted immediately, forcing me onto the floor and yanking my jaw open. His hand disappeared into my throat, and I felt the unbearable tugging of something alive being pulled out. I screamed as the creature fought back, scraping against the walls of my throat. Finally, with a wet, sickening pop, it came free. The leech was massive, writhing and dripping with blood. The trainer tossed it aside, but the damage was done. I lay on the floor, gasping, my body trembling. When I finally mustered the strength to sit up, I caught my reflection in the gym mirror. The man staring back was unrecognizable. My skin hung loose over my skeleton, my eyes sunken, my once impressive frame reduced to a hollow shell. The trainer crouched beside me, smirking.
Well, Bulk,
He said, clapping a hand on my shoulder.
you've finally hit your goal weight. Congratulations.
Finally done. Now this old house is ready to welcome its new owner. Hopefully the new tenant won't get too attached to it. I'm Susan, a real estate agent, but all the houses I deal with are old properties rumoured to be haunted. Why? Because we're not after rental commissions. What we really want is the deposit money from unlucky tenants. Tenants who can't handle the ghosts I personally create to scare them away. I'm absolutely confident about this scam. This old house has stood for over 70 years and is decorated in a Gothic style. Despite surviving a fire, the house remains mostly intact. This time, the tenant has paid a hefty amount to rent the entire mansion. So I've meticulously prepared everything to welcome my special guest, and I'm hoping he'll flee from this mansion soon enough. My client this time was a man named Paul. He was pretty young, but his way of dressing was, well, a bit odd. He carefully inspected the house, and while he was at it, I quietly observed him too. His suitcase was compact, but he also carried a bag filled with random stuff. Looking closer, I noticed a few exorcism tools inside, silver daggers, holy water, and a crucifix. Looks like I've run into another religious fanatic, I thought to myself. Paul suddenly asked,
Are you Christian too? That rosary you're wearing looks quite special.
I was caught off guard but quickly brushed it off. Yeah, my family's Christian. My aunt's even a nun. I glanced at the rosary and explained, it's a gift from her. But honestly, I just wear it as an accessory. Paul agreed to sign the rental contract on the spot. I smirked inwardly.
Looks like this deal is going to be a smooth one.
Before Paul moved in, I secretly installed hidden cameras around the house to monitor his every move and plan my scare tactics. Watching Paul sleep soundly, I smiled with excitement and began my first night of work. A terrifying scream startled Paul awake, making him look anxiously towards the window. At that moment, I vaguely saw his eyes light up. The window had handprints made of glowing water, a bit of red light, and a horrifying scream from the Bluetooth speaker, creating a spooky scene. I eagerly waited for Paul's reaction, but he seemed unfazed and went back to sleep. Looks like I underestimated him, but no worries, the fun is just beginning. The next day, I printed a picture of a human head, put it in a jar, and placed it in the fridge. I sat in front of my computer anxiously waiting for Paul's reaction, but Paul didn't seem scared at all. He looked straight into the camera and bluntly exposed my prank. I also tied a fake ghost made of white cloth to a string, making it fly in the hallway. Watching Paul's reaction, I couldn't help but suspect he was expecting something truly scary to appear. But whatever the reason, one thing is certain. He has no intention of leaving anytime soon, and I won't give up that easily either. This time, I decided to scare Paul myself. I snuck into the house with a spare key, carrying a large human skeleton model. But as soon as I entered, I saw a charred skeleton rushing towards me. Instinctively, I tried to use the remote to stop it, but it was clearly not one of my controllable props. I had encountered a real ghost. My whole body froze, and I tried my best to scream for help. In my desperation, Paul appeared and splashed holy water on the skeleton, making it scream in agony. I stared in shock at Paul and the skeleton, letting Paul drag me away. Paul calmly drew a strange circle and said,
I am an exorcist. This house once belonged to an English landlord who killed many slaves and fed their hearts to his daughter, believing it would cure her heart disease. I will perform a ritual to help their souls find peace.
I scoffed. You're joking, right? This is just another one of your pranks. Paul didn't argue and splashed holy water in my eyes. Suddenly, my vision cleared. Around me, dozens of ghosts appeared, their faces twisted, eyes burning with hatred. They were all staring at me. I felt like my 27-year-old worldview suddenly collapsed. I wanted Paul to say something to me, but he was focused on his exorcism. The ghost of the landlord seemed to sense the danger. He used the mirror to command the slave ghosts to break Paul's protective circle. I was confused about how to help Paul. Suddenly, the wound on my hand heated up. My arm was being controlled. I remembered the wound was caused by that ancient mirror. The landlord must be using it to control me and harm Paul. Just as my fingers were about to pierce Paul's artery, Paul suddenly opened his eyes, stopped my hand, and grabbed my rosary. With just the rosary beads, Paul easily destroyed all the screaming ghosts around us. As I was about to run to hug Paul, a chilling sensation enveloped me. A strange voice echoed in my head.
Finally, that pesky rosary is gone. Now this body will be mine.
I looked in horror at my transparent body. It turned out they had been targeting my body all along, but I was always protected by the rosary. The landlord sacrificed his soul to trick Paul into breaking my rosary so his daughter could possess my body. I tried to scream for Paul's help, but it seemed no one could hear me. Is this the price I have to pay for exploiting ghosts for my own gain?